my way, but my disease grew upon me. For what disease is like alcohol, and at length even Pluto, who was now becoming old, and consequently somewhat peevish, even Pluto began to experience the effects of my ill temper. One night, returning home, much intoxicated, from one of my haunts about town, I fancied that the cat avoiding my presence. I seized him when, in his fight at my violence, he inflicted a slight wound upon my hand with his teeth. The fury of a demon instantly possessed me. I knew myself no longer. My original soul seemed at once to take its flight from my body, and a more than friendly malevolence, nurtured, thrilled every fibre of my frame. I took from my waistcoat pocket a penknife. I opened it, grasped the poor beast by the throat, and deliberately cut one of its eyes from the socket. I blush, I burn, I shudder, while I pin the damnable atrocity. When reason returned with the morning, when I had slept off the fumes of the night's debauch, I experienced a sentiment half of horror, half of remorse for the crime of which I had been guilty. But it was, at best, a feeble and equivocal feeling, and the soul remained untouched. I again plunged into excess, and soon drowned in wine all memory of the deed. In the meanwhile, the cat slowly recovered. The socket of the lost eye presented, it is true, a frightful appearance, but he no longer appeared to suffer any pain. He went about the house as usual, but as might be expected fled in extreme terror at my approach. I had so much of an old heart left as to be at first grieved by this evident dislike on the part of a creature which had once so loved me. But this feeling soon gave place to irritation, and then came, as if to my final and irreversible overthrow, the spirit of perversiveness, of the spirit philosophy, takes no account. Yet I am not more sure that my soul lives, that I am that perversiveness is one of the primitive impulses of that human heart, one of the indivisible primary faculties or sentiments which give direction to a character of man, who has not 100 times found himself committing a vile or a stupid action for no other reason than because he knows he should not have. We not a perpetual inclination in the teeth of our best judgment to violate that which a law, merely because we understand it to be such. This spirit of perversiveness, I say, came to my final overthrow. It was this unfathomable longing of the soul to vex itself, to offer violence to its own nature, to do wrong for the wrong's sake only, that urged me to continue to and finally, to consummate the injury I had inflicted upon the unoffending brute. One morning, in cold blood, I slipped a noose around its neck and hung it to the limb of a tree. Hung it with the tears streaming from my eyes, and with the bittersweet remorse in my heart. Hung it because I knew that it loved me, and because I felt it had given me no reason of offence. Hung it because I knew that in doing so I was committing a sin, a deadly sin that would so jeopardize my moral soul as to place it, if such a thing were possible, even beyond the reach of the infinite mercy of the most merciful and most terrible gods. On the night of the day on which the most cruel deed was done, I was aroused from sleep by a cry of fire. The curtains of my bed were in flames. The whole house was blazing. It was with great difficulty that my wife, a servant, and myself made our escape from the conflagration. The destruction was complete. My entire worldly wealth was swallowed up, and I resigned myself thenceforward to despair. I am above the weakness of seeking to establish a sequence of cause and effect between the disaster and atrocity.